Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm going to do like a One Lonely Farmer West Pandy style driving video, update video. Sorry for the noise. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I know my exhaust, I have a loud exhaust on this truck. It sounds good. It's loud enough that it still sounds good, but there's not a whole lot of drone in the cab, so it still sounds pretty pleasant. It's still enjoyable for a long ride, especially because I have a 200-mile drive to school. I came back home for Easter. Actually, today is Easter Sunday. Had dinner with the family. Now I'm heading back up to school. I only got 3 more weeks left. Praise the Lord. This is actually kind of an impromptu video, and I apologize. I've been off the charts for about a month, maybe a little over a month. And I figured, you know what, I have a long drive tonight, a long and slow drive, so I might as well update you guys now. So as you guys know, I've been fixing to head to Pennsylvania Plow Day for quite a few years now. I think the past 3 years I've been trying to get out to it, and it just never happened. Between the John Deere 210 being down and not being able to get a ride, not having time, all kinds of other stupid crap, I just haven't been able to make it. But this year, now that I'm going to school out in central Pennsylvania, only about an hour west of where PA Plow Day is, I've basically promised myself that I was going to make it out there. And, you know, being in this garden tractor collecting hobby, I've made so many friends. I mean, the network of people in this hobby, especially the John Deere guys, it's just unbelievable. I mean, the amount of friends I've made, the amount of connections I've made, and the amount of like different shows and events and things like that that I've been able to make it to, it's really just amazing. It's a great hobby. It honestly is. It just so happens that I get hit with bad luck, and my tractors are always giving me trouble at the worst times too, but I'll get to that in a minute. Like I said, bear with me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I gotta hold you. My phone is in the cup holder of my truck right now because I don't have a stand for it or a suction cup or any of that. So I'm just gonna hold you guys here. But anyway, like I said, I've been itching to get to Pennsylvania Plow Day, and I said 2017, it's finally gonna happen. I've missed it too many years now, and I'm not missing it again. Like I said, I'm only an hour east or an hour west of it from school, so it's a real easy hour drive. Today is Easter Sunday. Like I said, it's about 9:45 p.m. right now. I'm on the road a little bit later than I would have liked. I'm heading westbound on the Pennsylvania Turnpike right now. 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, gotta love it. Westbound and down, loaded up in trucking. Now, I don't know if you can see, I got my cab light on. You can probably see behind me there, I got the John Deere 210 in the back, all loaded up and strapped down and everything. Now, I know you guys have been wondering what the hell's been going on with that tractor. I said, I'm trying to remember when it was in another video last. It might have been back in January, I think. I was getting some upgrades for the tractor to get it ready for the plow day, which included a hydraulic lift kit and some other things. And the last time you guys saw it, the Transaxle was out getting rebuilt. It wasn't in the tractor. Well, fast forward 3 months, and all that's changed. I've been biting at it, chipping away at it, working to get the tractor all back together and ready to go for this plow day, because I said I wasn't missing it for the world. So let's see, I have to think back in chronological order, but like I said, I've been taking little bits and pieces, working on weekends. I would come home for the weekend just to work on the tractor. And you know, it's a 200-mile drive. It's supposed to be a 4-hour drive from my house to school. And I drive a pickup truck, and I get 14 miles to the gallon. So obviously, coming home on the weekends is not exactly a practical solution. But when I find the time, I come home on the weekends to work on the tractor. Back when I was home on spring break about a month ago, mid-March, I wanted to get some work done on the tractor, and I called the guy who had the Transaxle, the guy who's the head mechanic at our dealership, and he's also the guy who runs our garden tractor pulls in my area. So he was working on rebuilding the transaxle for me. I called him up. He said everything inside the transaxle case looks good. No gears are chipped, broke, none of that. Just what happened at the pull last summer was the detent springs went out, which is typical for those 2300 Peerless transaxles, the 4-speeds. Other than that, they're pretty much bulletproof. What happens is the detent springs that hold the shifter forks in place, they don't sit in any oil. They just rust out over the years. And obviously after 35, 40 years of wear and tear, the springs get so rusted out that they break or they let go, and they can't hold the shifter forks in place anymore. So the shifter forks let go, and then the transmission tries to shift itself into 2 gears at once, and that's pretty much fatal for them. And of course it happened right in the middle of a garden tractor pull when I was trying a pull for the first time for competition. So I pulled it out in end of July. You guys saw it in the video there, the end of the summer video I made back in August. And then the guy spent a few months, chipping away at it, rebuilding it when he could. He had some surgery done, so he was off the charts, out of work for a while. And then I called him up the week before I came home for spring break, so early March. I called him up. And I said, hey, I'm going to be home for spring break next week, and I'd like to get back to work on my tractor because I need it soon. He said, yeah, I'll find some time to get out and finish it all up. So he called me up. I was home the next week for spring break, and he called me up and says, hey, I got your transaxle all back together and ready to go. So I headed down to his place and picked it up. I was talking with him for a little bit. So he replaced the detent springs. He says he never rebuilds one of those transaxles without putting new springs in it. So that was good. That's like a precautionary measure. He's an expert on 200 series tractors. He's got like two 212, two 214s, and a 216 that he pulls with, and he's got a collection of like 60 John Deere garden tractors. So he knows the 200 series pretty damn well. He's got them all restored and everything. So he's a dealer mechanic, so he's had many of them apart over the years. So he knows what he's doing. So he tore it all apart, cleaned everything up, flushed the case out, checked to make sure none of the gears were broke or busted. Replaced the detent springs, put all new seals and gaskets in the housing, sealed everything up. He installed new seals and bearings in the axle tubes, which is great because those do get worn and they do leak over time. So new bearings, new seals. He put a new O-ring in the shifter column and a new gasket to hold the shifter column to the transaxle case. And yeah, he basically just refurbished it. All new seals, gaskets, bearings, everything. And then I went to Tractor Supply, got some 80-90 weight gear oil, put it in. I took some time. I repainted the whole rear end of the tractor. I repainted the transaxle. I repainted the rear hitch plate because you have to remove the rear hitch plate from the frame rails to get the transaxle out. So I repainted that. I repainted the rear lift assembly. And I found out John Deere actually uses self-tapping bolts or self-tapping screws to hold the frame rails and the transaxle or the trailer hitch plate together on the frame. For some reason they love, I don't know why, they love using self-tapping screws. Like on the X570, if you guys saw the new X570 video I posted where I was putting the bumper and all that stuff on, that had self-tapping screws too. That was stupid, but apparently that's a thing that John Deere likes to do. So actually one of the self-tapping screws that holds the frame rail to the trailer hitch plate was gone. Like it had broken off and it was gone. So I went through and I replaced all the self-tapping screws with regular bolts, grade 5 bolts, nuts, washers, block washers, everything. So I got that taken care of to eliminate any future problems. Stupid ass self-tapping screws. Pardon my language too. This is a bit of a rant video. I've got a couple things to touch on, so it's going to be, this video will be a while, so stick around. So I got the transaxle back in, replaced all the mounting screws and stuff. And as you guys know, I think I talked about this in a previous video. I bought a hydraulic lift kit for this tractor back in December. I got it over winter break. It got delivered over winter break. I got it from a member of Weekend Freedom Machines forum. I posted a wanted ad, saying, hey, I got a 200 series, I'm looking for a hydraulic lift kit. And this guy actually had, this member on WFM actually had one for sale. He was selling it on eBay. Some of you guys have probably seen it. He was selling it on eBay for like 400 something bucks. But he said, you're a member of Weekend Freedom Machines, I'll give you a discount. So he saved me a few bucks. And it actually came out of Canada. The guy was out of Manitoba. So I said, hey, that's a great deal. I'll take it. So I paid him through PayPal, paid him Canadian dollars actually. It took a couple weeks, but it got shipped in. And the kit, the thing with the aftermarket kit, or the upgrade kits for the 200 series, like the hydraulic lift and the electric lift and all that stuff, all the parts for those kits are obsolete. They don't make them anymore. They quit making the parts for them in 1987 when they quit making the 200 series. So if you're going to upgrade to a kit, it's a very risky move to make. You got to either machine some parts, or you got to ask around, see if anyone has a parts tractor, or from what I hear, what a lot of guys do is buy a parts tractor with the hydraulic lift already installed, and then they just put they swap the kit over. And of course, being John Deere and Kohler, halfway through production run, they would switch their models up, or switch up parts or something stupid, which would require different parts. So some parts aren't interchangeable between years. I found that out when I got the kit. The kit came off of an early 214, I think. It was like a 77 or 78 214, before they switched to the later style motors with the different oil pan and mount and all that stuff. And at some point during the production run, Kohler switched from a crankshaft where the flywheel end was externally threaded. They switched from that to a crankshaft where it was internally tapped, where the threads were inside the crank on the flywheel side, and the flywheel was held on with a grade 8 bolt instead of a nut. So obviously John Deere had to work their way around that, and they ended up changing the hydraulic lift pulley. Because for those of you who don't know the 200 series, because they're belt drive, they're not direct shaft drive like a 300 series. They don't have a hydrostatic pump to run the hydraulic lines and stuff. So they have to use a special, like a cross-mounted hydraulic system, which runs off the crankshaft, or the flywheel side of the engine. And then there's a belt that runs to a hydraulic pump that mounts on the engine cradle. And then you have to replace the entire side pedestal, the dash pedestal on the left side where the lift handle goes. You have to take that out. You have to basically unthread the lift handle, which is a pain in the ass because it's pressed in there from the factory and it's been in there for 35 years. So you got to use a lot of force or a really big wrench. I actually ended up just taking a Sawzall and cutting the lever off down as far down to the rock shaft as I could go. So you have to take the lift lever out, and then you have to replace the dash pedestal with the different pedestal for the hydraulic lift kit, which includes a hydraulic fluid reservoir, a two-way hydraulic valve, and the return lines and all that crap. So I took all that out and replaced it. I had to run the lines to the back. And then there's the hydraulic cylinder that runs the lift, which takes the place of, it mounts in the same place as your electric lift actuator or your helper spring. And I put a helper spring on the tractor 4 years ago when I restored it. I got the helper spring real cheap on eBay, and I had to do some modifications to it to make it work. But even with the snow plow and the Brindley plow on the back, it was just getting to be too much of a pain to lift by hand, even when the spring was adjusted with the right tension. So I said, this has got to go. So I took the helper spring off and I sold it, made a few bucks on it, and I used that to offset the cost of the hydraulic lift. I got everything mounted up. I routed the hoses. I had to be careful to route the hoses away from like the lift mechanism and all that stuff where it could get tangled up. Because for those of you who know the 200 series, those frame rails are so freaking cluttered. There's just so much linkage and stuff going on underneath them. You have to be careful and make sure the lines don't rub and everything. Now, I actually started to make a video on the hydraulic lift install. I got the kit and started installing it in early January, I believe it was. Oh great, it's But yeah, I got the lift back in January. I started to make a video of the install, but I ended up going back to school halfway through and couldn't finish the video. And by the time I finally got back a month and a half later, it would have been too it just wouldn't have worked out. Let me put it that way. Trying to pick up on the video. So unfortunately, there was no video of me installing the hydraulic lift. There were a bunch of videos I wanted to make. I wanted to make a video of me getting the tractor ready for PA Plow Day, but I hit a lot of, let me tell you, I hit a lot of roadblocks in the process getting this tractor ready, because I ended up buying a lot of other parts and stuff for it, just like for precautionary measures and performance-wise. I replaced anything that could potentially go wrong during the 2 days of PA Plow Day, because I just didn't want to take any risks. I got the hydraulic lift installed, filled it with low viscosity high guard oil, and everything works good. The only problem I had was the drive pulley on the crankshaft that mounts to the hydraulic pump, that runs the hydraulic pump, was, like I said, it was off of an earlier 214 with the different style crankshaft, so I had to modify it. I had to modify the pulley to fit my crankshaft with the internally tapped threads. So I put it on my uncle's lathe. I had him do a little lathing for me. Basically, we welded. Man, this rain's really coming down. We stuck a grade 8 bolt through it and welded it shut where the threads were on the inside of the pulley, and then we put it on the drill press and drilled through it all the way, drilled a hole through the entire pulley, and then we put it on the lathe to balance it out. And it took some practice and troubleshooting to get it right, make sure there was no wobble or anything like that. And then I had to search for the right length grade 8 bolt, which is very hard to find. I had to make sure it didn't stick out too far that it hit the side panel. So I had to do a little bit of searching from there. And it took us a few tries. Like I said, we managed to get the hydraulic lift pump pulley hooked up and working good. Adjusted the tension on the belt for the hydraulic pump, and I tested the lift, and it works great. No leaks or anything. I soaked all the parts in the parts washer, my uncle's parts washer, before turn the AC on here. I soaked all the parts in my uncle's parts washer, got all the grease and everything off of them, and checked to make sure there was no leaks from the hoses or anything. So that was good. I didn't have any issues there. So that's that. And then I ended up making a couple unexpected purchases just for parts for this tractor. One of the things I wanted to do, the 16 horse motor, the Kohler K341 that I swapped in it from DJ that I got a few years ago, it needed a little bit of work to it. It wasn't perfect. It sat for a while. And the carburetor that came with it was junk. The throttle shaft was junk. So for the past few years, I've been running the carburetor off of the old 10 horse K241 that was originally in the tractor. So, I mean, it worked, but the engine was running a little bit lean, and it wasn't making as much horsepower as it could. I knew it's a 16 horse engine with not a whole lot of hours, not a whole lot of use, so I knew it could have been making more power than it was. So I said, you know, I got to get the right carburetor for this thing. And I was debating buying one of those new eBay carburetors, the new, like, the cheap Chinese ones that are like 35, 40, 50 bucks. But they're not authentic. That's the problem. They're cheaply made. Sure, they're cheap to buy. It's cheaper than buying a brand new carburetor from Kohler. Actually, after doing a little bit of research, Kohler doesn't even make those carburetors anymore. Your best bet is to just buy a used one if you want good quality. Because I really didn't want to put one of those low quality carburetors on my tractor. So, oops, just a second here. I don't know what this guy's doing. So I did a little bit of searching, and actually on a lawn and garden auction page on Facebook, there is a guy selling refurbished carburetors for Kohler engines, the Carter carburetors, not the Walbros. Those are junk. It was like 65 bucks, I think it was. It had all new rebuild kit. It was all cleaned in an ultrasonic cleaner and bead blasted and everything. Got all the crap and gunk and build up out of it. All new gaskets, needles, seat, and it had new bushings put in the throttle shaft too, because those throttle shaft bushings get worn pretty bad over time, and then the engine, it just messes everything up. It won't run right if that's if that throttle shaft has any slop in it. This carburetor came with the new throttle shaft bushings and everything, which is good because that saved a lot of work and a lot of trouble. And it was basically like a new carburetor. It was on an auction page. I ended up winning it for 65 bucks. So I bought that. It was the Carter number 30 carburetor, the right one for the K341 and K321 engines. So that's no problem. That saved me a little bit of a headache there, because it's an original authentic carburetor too, no cheap Chinese junk. So that was another thing I got for it. The next thing I got, just for safety reasons, and to make a little bit more power, to get as much power out of it as I could, I bought a blue Bosch coil, a 12-volt ignition coil made by Bosch, real high quality ones. A lot of puller guys run them. I was at an indoor garden tractor pull about a month ago, and most of them guys who run those Cub Cadets with the K-series coilers in them, they run those blue Bosch coils because they're very they put out a hotter spark. There's less resistance, so they put out a much hotter spark, and they make more power out of them that way. What's going on here? This freaking Easter traffic, Easter Sunday traffic, people going back home. It's ridiculous. People don't know how to drive. The coil that was on the K341 already was good, but the threads on the terminals where where the wires tighten down, the threads were stripped, so the wires for the points and condenser would not hold, and they keep coming off. So I didn't want to take any risk, especially being out in the field of PA Plow day. I didn't want to take no risk with the wires popping off and me losing power. My God, this rain's really coming down. And I always get a little nervous driving around having the tractor exposed to the rain, but all the air's passing over the bed, so the tractor should be fine. But yeah, so I didn't want to take any risks at PA Plow Day with the coils jumping off, because when you're at PA Plow Day with all them garden tractors there, you don't want to be that guy that stops dead in the middle of the field and holds up a whole line of guys. I didn't want to be that person, so I got a new coil, and it turns out the coil was actually too big for the clamp that I bought. The hydraulic lift, for the hydraulic lift kit, you have to relocate the coil so it clears the hydraulic pumping lines, and you have to use a special clamp for that. Well, I ordered that special clamp from John Deere, and I ended up having to take it off and not use it because the blue Bosch coil was much bigger than the stock coil, and it wouldn't fit inside that clamp. So I had to do a little modifying. It was actually my uncle's idea, believe it or not, just to make sure the coil cleared the wires and the hydraulic lines and everything. We yanked the battery box out and drilled another hole in the battery box and bolted the coil to the battery box instead of the side of the motor, which was I think was a really good idea because it kept the wires and everything out of the way. Oh, come on, people. So we mounted the coils, the coil and the condenser and everything out of the way on the battery box instead of on the motor, which I think was a really good idea. So that saved us a bit of trouble there. And we got the coil wired up and everything, and I'll tell you what, I fired that thing up with the new carburetor put on it. I had to take the carburetor off to fix the fuel bowl because the bowl gasket was leaking. The O-ring had unseated itself, but once I got that fixed, I mounted it up and I put the coil on, and I got that thing, I started that thing up, and that thing made so much power, it's unbelievable. It really made a difference too, because it's making hotter sparks, so that thing's probably making, God, I don't know, maybe 18 horsepower, 18, 19, 20 horsepower, I'd be willing to bet. And it's still an original motor, so I have to be careful. I mean, it hasn't been rebuilt or anything. It is 30 years old. It came out of DJ's 87, 216. So it's original. I'm going to rebuild it someday, but for now, I'm just going to run the piss out of it, because it's still got a lot of life left in it. It's good for pulling. So yeah, so after I got all that stuff installed, I got the hydraulic lift installed, I got the new coil installed, and I got the new carburetor installed. Those were the three big things. I had to adjust the governor linkage because the new carburetor was a little bit different. I had to change. I had to adjust it, and I had to change the governor linkage a little bit, get that all adjusted right. I got it all working good. And the thing runs strong. It seems to make plenty of power. I still need to do a little bit of fine tuning on the carb because it still has an occasional miss, but that's just something simple. The new carburetor had a different, the three mounting bolts that hold the air cleaner base onto the carburetor. Those three holes actually had a different pattern than the original carburetor, so I had to take the air cleaner base and drill 2 more holes in it to make it fit. Because I didn't want to take no risks with having to buy an older style air cleaner, like from a round fender or like a 140 or something. I think that's what the carburetor came off of. I think it was off of 140 because it uses different screws and everything too. So I had to modify the air cleaner base to make it fit the carburetor, but I drilled new holes in it and it worked fine. So I got it mounted up, and there's no air leaks, no vacuum leaks, none of that. So that's good. Oh my God, 26 minutes. Yeah, sorry this video is so long. Time really flies, especially when you're driving and trying to pay attention. But this isn't much of a distraction anyway. I could drive for hours on end. So it's a nice drive heading out to central Pennsylvania. It's really an amazing state, beautiful state. Like I said, I was going to make a video installing the hydraulic lift and getting the plow and everything hooked up, and unfortunately, I hit so many roadblocks in this project in the process of getting the tractor ready to go. It just, I would fix one thing and then something else would go wrong. Then I'd fix that and another thing would go wrong. Or I'd have to fix one problem and I'd have to take everything else to get to. I'd have to take off everything else to get to it because there's so much clutter inside under the hood there on those John Deeres. And there was a lot of cussing. There was a lot of sweat and tears and cuts and everything, blood, sweat, and tears and everything. So it was stupid. I've worked on that tractor so much, I basically know it like the back of my hand. But it's just a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. That tractor's given me so much bad luck, but I've dumped so much money into it, I'd never be able to sell it for what I have in it. So that thing's my baby anyway. I need some garden tractor to keep me busy for the next couple of years until I can get a nice one. So I decided to beef up the 210. But yeah, the transmission's back in, the hydraulic lift is installed and works good after some modifications. I put a high performance coil in it to give it a little more power, and I got a new carburetor on it to give it a little more power as well, because with the old carburetor it was running lean. So I've been coming home the past few weekends. Like a few weeks ago I came home, got the transmission put in and working, and I got the hydraulic lift finished up and made sure that was working good. And this past weekend, actually I spent the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday today after eating dinner. I spent a few hours working on trying to rush and haul ass to get it back together. But it's all back together and it's just about ready to go. I'm paranoid that I'm going to have some major problem with it. So it's just, with that tractor you never know. It's like if it's not one thing, it's another, to add insult to injury. But I love that tractor. That was my first garden tractor. It's the one that started it all for me, and it seems to be the most popular tractor I own according to you guys. So at least for right now, I don't have any plans to sell it. I got the Brindley plow on it. I got the sleeve hitch hooked up and everything. Their lift and everything works really good. I have a couple other stupid things I want to do to it. Like I bought an extra PTO clutch, an electric PTO clutch, because the one that I have on it is junk. And what I'm going to do when I get time is take good parts from both of them and build one good PTO clutch. Because John Deere wants like 900 something bucks for a new PTO clutch, which is outrageous. So I'm not buying a new one. So I'm going to try and piece one together, and then I'll at some point I'll get the mower deck on it and practice mowing with it. I'll just have it as a backup mower, but for now the X570 should be fine. The X570 has about 18 hours on it right now. It runs good. It's a good cutting tractor. The thing runs great. It's real comfortable and everything. I love it. It's a nice machine. But at the end of the day, there's no replacement for the old garden tractors. I think we can all agree on that. So, oh well, as long as we take care of it, and as long as we do proper maintenance on it, it'll last my dad for years and years. And it'll be the last machine he ever has to buy. I'll do the maintenance on it and everything and keep it running good. So, yeah, that's about where I'm at right now. I'll see if you can see the 210 in the back there. I've got the 210 with the True Power tires on the back, 50-pound cast iron wheel weights, and I got my custom brush guard weight bracket on the front with 5 suitcase weights hanging on it. I'm not going to need any of the suitcase weights, but I figured I'd bring them just in case if someone else might need them. And I also have my 25-pound Cub Cadet cast iron wheel weights in case someone else might need those. So I'm very prepared. I've got probably, God, I don't even know, maybe 1,600 pounds in the back of this truck. And this truck's, it's only a half ton. It's a 2000 F-150. I've never made a video on it. I'm real sorry about that. I've been so caught up in a bunch of other crap. And I have some things to fix on this truck first. It needs a little bit of TLC, so someday I'll get around to making a video of it so you guys can see it all. It's a good truck. It's been a reliable truck. It's got, let's see, 97,400 miles. So, it had 80,000 when I bought it, so I put 17,000 miles on it in 2 years. It's been a good truck. It's got a 5.4 Triton in it. The good 5.4, not the, it's got the 2-valve 5.4, not the 3-valve. The 3 valves are junk. That's one reason I wanted to get a pre-2004, because the 03 and older have 2-valve engines. A lot of guys diss these trucks because they're like a step down from the old body style trucks. And they have spark plug issues and coils going out and all that crap, but at 94,000 miles, my uncle and I changed the plugs and we changed most of the coils. So we got that taken care of. It didn't seem too bad. The early 2-valve 5.4s don't have 2-piece spark plugs like the later ones, so you don't have to worry about breaking spark plugs off inside the heads, which is good. So there's actually a funny story behind that. The 5.4s are known for the intake manifolds to crack and leak. Well, oddly enough, about a week after my uncle and I changed the, well, no, let me backtrack. I was getting a misfire. The thing was misfiring, and I have a little OBD2 code reader, so I hooked my code reader up to it. It said misfire on cylinder 4. This is all right. I figured it's probably a spark plug going bad or something. So with my uncle's help, I pulled it in his garage. We took all the shrouding and stuff off, got all the lines out of it, took the coils out, took the plugs out, changed all the plugs, and changed a couple coils that we thought were going bad. I changed the number 4 coil just to be safe, and then I broke another coil. I broke another coil taking it out, so I replaced that one. Got it back together. It ran good for about a week, and then I started getting a misfire again. I was like, oh great. I plugged my code scanner up to it, and it says, oh no. And I was driving it one day, and it started steaming out from under it was actually steaming out of the grill. And I smelled antifreeze. I was like, oh no. Turns out the intake manifold was cracked. So over New Year's, actually, it was New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we worked on it. I had my truck in my uncle's garage for those couple of days. We bought a new, we spent what the heck? I'll tell you what, these roads are full of idiots. But we got a brand new intake manifold from Napa, a Dorman one, made in the US too, not one of the cheap Chinese ones. We got a new intake manifold with the O-rings and everything, put it in, changed all the plugs and coils and everything, and the truck's been running fine. I haven't had any issues with it. So basically, I mean, you could say the 5.4 is now bulletproof. New plugs, coils, and intake manifold. That's what they're notorious for the manifolds and the plugs and coils. But I've got most of that changed. The only thing that it could still need would be the exhaust manifolds, if the exhaust manifolds go bad. But sorry about that. But yeah, the truck runs strong. I mean, I've got probably 1,600 pounds in the bed right now. I got the tractor with the wheel weights on it and the ag tires, hydraulic lift, rear lift, all that stuff. There's the weight bracket with the 5 suitcase weights. the Brindley plow, my ramps, the extra weights, and 10 gallons of gas, and then all my tools and shit like that. Because I'm very prepared. I really need a trailer is what I need. But I'll tell you what, this is a very reliable truck. I know you guys, a lot of you guys out there are Ford haters or whatever. You don't like Ford. You feel like you have to diss all the videos about Ford and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, as long as it's American made, it's good. At least the way I see it. And I come from a Ford family, so I would get the hammer if I bought anything other than a Ford. This is a good truck. It's a very good truck. I mean, I run 200 miles with it to school and then 200 miles back, and I run fast too. I don't drive slow. I mean, I run this thing hard. If I got somewhere to be, I run this thing hard, and she'll get up and go. It's funny seeing an old F-150 passing a bunch of Audis and BMWs on the road. But this is a very reliable truck. I'll make a video of it in the future. It needs a little bit of work, but I'll get to that in another video. So thank you guys very much for keeping up with me the past, well, since the beginning, really. I've been on YouTube almost 6 years. Thank you guys for all the support, all the comments and everything. I'm glad you all like my videos. Like I said, I'm sorry I've been off the grid. Between school and everything, I've been so freaking busy. And like I said, I had a whole video planned out. I was going to make a video of putting the 210 all back together, getting it ready to go. But I got so pressed for time. Like I said, I worked all this weekend, every day this weekend. Just earlier today, I had Easter dinner with the family, and then came home and got to work on the tractor again. So I've had like no time to make a video even. And I hit a lot of roadblocks. I fixed one thing and something else would go wrong, and I had to take one thing apart, put it back together, and take it apart again because of some other thing went wrong. So it was nothing worth taking a video of. Now, normally, you guys know I would edit this video in my program, and I would add pictures and everything to it, add a slideshow to it. But I'm just taking this video directly from my phone, and I'm going to upload it directly from my phone. So thank you guys very much for following me, for all the subscriptions, for all the comments and likes and everything, for keeping my channel going. I'm in college, you have to understand that, so it's hard to find time to make videos, but I try and keep you guys updated. There's some other things I'd like to talk about, but in another video. I've rambled on enough. Thank you guys for putting up with me, for watching me in this long video. I'm going to definitely have videos from PA Plow Day, like no doubt about that. I've got my GoPro with all the equipment ready to go, unless the GoPro does something stupid. So I'm going to try and take as much video as I can. Me and a bunch of my buddies are going, so I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys there, for those of you guys who are watching this video. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys there. It's going to be a good time. I am a little skeptical about the 210 because I always have my doubts about that freaking tractor. Like I said, I fixed one thing and then something else goes wrong with it, but we'll see. I got it all back together today. I was fixing to load it up in my truck and get leaving. It's 10:15 right now. It's real late. I was going to leave at like 7 o'clock, just because I didn't want to leave too late. It was about 7 o'clock. I was getting ready to load the tractor up, and the thing was running. It ran great. Then I noticed it was dripping gas out, and it was leaking gas everywhere. Like, oh, great. I think I said this already, but I had to take the carburetor off a second time and reseal the bowl gasket, and then put it all back together, make sure it was running good and adjusting everything. So the carburetor still needs a little bit more adjustment, but it's just about there, and it runs stronger than ever. So assuming everything goes well, assuming the 210 doesn't give me any more trouble, I think we'll have a fun time at PA Plow Day, and I'm really looking forward to it. So look forward to those videos. I don't have a video editing software on my laptop. That's on my computer at home, so I don't know how long it'll take me to get the Plow Day video uploaded. And like I said, I'll be posting a lot of pictures and taking a lot of videos and stuff. Sorry about this. My finger always gets in the way with this new phone. It's just where the camera is. And I was actually off the grid for a couple of weeks because I cracked the camera lens on this brand new S7. They use a glass lens for some reason compared to like a plexiglass lens. So when the glass lens shatters, that's it. You got to replace it. So I was off the grid for a couple of weeks anyway. So I wasn't able to make videos anyway. But you see, I got my sleeping bag and everything there. I'm ready to go. So we're camping out. I'm going to be there all day Friday all night and then all day Saturday. I'm camping out, so I've been so excited for PA Plow Day, man. You guys have no idea. It's going to be a good time. Even if the 210X up and I can't use it, I'm sure I'll be able to run someone else's tractor for a while. We'll see. So you guys stay tuned. I'm going to try and edit some videos together if I can. There's going to be a shit ton of videos on YouTube from other people, so keep an eye out. I'm sure you'll see me and a few of my buddies in those videos. I'll try and take some videos with my phone, and I'll take some GoPro videos too, so it'll be a good time. That's enough of my rambling. It's 40 minutes. Sorry, thank you guys for keeping up with me. Kudos to you guys who are still watching it this far in. I know this is a ridiculously long video, but I had a lot of stuff to catch up on, so for those of you guys who've been watching this whole time, or most of the time anyway, you rock. Roads are empty now. I don't know if you can see that, but that's just the life. I gotta be careful driving here, but alright, I've rambled on long enough. So thank you guys for watching. Sorry for this impromptu update. This is kind of a crappy video. It's something a little bit different. Trying to do two things at once here. Hopefully I'll have a lot of videos from the plow day, so you guys stay tuned. And I'm out of school in 3 more weeks, so I've got a lot of cool stuff to make videos on when I get home. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and stay tuned for PA Plow Day videos. It's going to be a good time.